Welcome back to Make, Build, Modify. I'm Justin. Today we're going to make kaleidoscopes. That's a kaleidoscope I made a few years back. It's just 3 mirrors I pulled out of an old copy machine. They're taped together with some aluminum tape, and it creates a pretty good image for what it is. But then I got to thinking, can I make a kaleidoscope that creates the illusion of a 3D object like a cube or something with even more sides than that? So I started playing around with the geometry, and I managed to come up with this. This is the shape of a kaleidoscope that makes a 3D object. And I tried to make a few different shapes. I wanted to make a cube and an octahedron and a dodecahedron. That's with pentagons on all sides. And this is the lines of symmetry. This is the triangles that you get. And the black triangle is the small triangle at the end of that tapered kaleidoscope I just showed you. And the rest of the video is going to be about making the kaleidoscope that makes this illusion. This is a one-to-one drawing that represents the shape of the 3 pieces of mirror that make up the 3-dimensional kaleidoscope. The little black triangle in the center is the small end of the kaleidoscope, the part that you look through. And the other 3 are the actual size of the glass that I'm going to cut. All 3 of these pieces of glass share a length of a side with their neighbors so that when they fold together, they come together and match. This particular set of mirrors is for a cube kaleidoscope. The rest of this video will be for a dodecahedron. But this gives you an idea of what I do to make sure that my glass will fit together and fold into a shape that will work. Now I'm drawing the one-to-one stencil for cutting the glass. And I did the math for a much larger triangle, basically 3 times the size, and drew those triangles on this paper. The reason I do that is it's a lot easier to draw a large triangle accurately. And then I just use the lower corner of that triangle because it has the same angle to draw out the small pane. I'm drawing 2 panes here, one's overlapping the other just to save space. And the third, the large triangle goes the other direction. And the same thing, I use the bottom corner and draw it out. And you can see the darker sections are the panes of glass. I've got them labeled top, bottom, and side. Now I have to go get some mirror, and you can get mirror inside of rear projection TVs. And these are given away on Craigslist all the time. That up there is a mirror, and it's a first surface mirror, or what they call a front surface mirror. That's about $500 worth of glass right there. Whoa. Look at that. Cutting the glass is pretty straightforward. You just use the stencils that you draw and lay them over the top and cut straight lines. Now I bought a glass cutter from a local big box store for the first few of these, and it wasn't doing a great job. So I went and looked for one of my older cutters and found it, and it ended up being a lot better cutter. So the glass cutter you select does make a difference, and if you're going to buy one, make sure you buy a higher quality one. You can see the shape of this is starting to come together. Not perfect yet. To glue these up, I just use a hot glue gun. I'm putting the masking tape on the underside of the glass just to keep the hot glue from sticking to the bench. I'm just doing 2 little dollops just to tack the glass together. You'll notice that I put the other piece of glass down there to shim it up. That's because these are first surface mirrors and the inside surface needs to marry up with the inside edge of the next piece. So there's kind of an outside corner that gets created. You can see here that I had to do the same thing, only I added another piece of glass and taped it down because this other piece that goes on comes in on an angle and it tries to push that shim away. Hot glue works pretty good for this because it sets up quickly, but when you're lining it up and you're trying to get it perfect, it seems like it takes a long time. You probably have to hold it for a couple minutes before it won't move. I just glued right up the edge of the glass after the tacks had dried. I added aluminum tape to cover up the edges to block the light out because there's just a ever so slight crack between the glass that the light can come through, and the metal tape is completely opaque, so it does a good job for blocking that out. Looks like we're almost ready for a test run here. I wish you could see this with both eyes because stereo vision does something different than what a camera does. It still looks amazing on camera, but when you're using both of your eyes, it looks like you could reach in there and grab this thing. It's really a great illusion. This is the same kaleidoscope side by side. And then I'm going to show you an octahedron here soon on the right hand side. There it is. And that one was done with a second surface mirror, and you can kind of see the edges are kind of not quite as crisp, and the division lines are a lot more pronounced. Here's a cube, same thing. You can really see the division lines, and it kind of falls off at the edges. So there is a strong argument to use first surface mirrors here. I'll leave a list of tools and materials in the description, and if you think I've earned it, please subscribe. Thanks.